When someone says Washington, do you think Washington like the dude, Washington, D.C., or Washington State? See, there's two sides of Washington State. Western Washington, the cool Bill Gates, Amazon, Sleepless in Seattle kind, and Eastern Washington, notorious for anti-masking, anti-vaxxing, and wanting to become its own Trumpian state. I live on the eastern side, in a place you've probably never heard of, Tri-Cities, Washington, mostly known for its wineries, suburb without a city, and as the site of the former Hanford Project during World War II. My city is an amalgamation of things that shouldn't have happened. The plutonium supplier of the bomb that shouldn't have dropped, the city dubbed the Birmingham of Washington State, and today a community of complicitness. If you asked me 2 years ago what I knew about the Tri-Cities, I would tell you that we're a little bit famous in the scientific world. For one, we're home to a national lab, one of the only gravitational wave observatories in the world, plus we are hailed as having the highest number of Ph.Ds per capita. People even visit the Tri-Cities from all over the world specifically to tour our B reactor, our lovely contribution to the war efforts. The quirky thing about living in the Tri-Cities is that I will always be exotic. Here, I'm not just Shreya, a high schooler. I'm specifically an Indian high schooler. They don't need to see my face, they just need to see my black hair, brown skin, short stature, and bam, Shreya, the perpetual identifiable minority. There's a complicated history of segregation here, both in the barracks of that famed plutonium-esque Hanford project, but also in the ways the three cities, hence the Tri-Cities, developed. The three cities are Richland, Kennewick, and Pasco, and if you asked a gangly teenager to describe them, they'd say, oh, Richland and Kennewick are the white ones, and Pasco's the ghetto. This is the bridge that marked the ghetto city from the white city in the Tri-Cities. The Kennewick-Pasco Cable Bridge, a Tri-Cities favorite for wide pans showing how aesthetically pleasing we are. This bridge is just more than a bridge. It's a reminder of what's been largely forgotten. A reminder that since our days of plutonium, we've been explicitly and now implicitly segregated. This bridge marks the power of white militia and enthusiastically racist sheriffs that enforce the bridge as the markings of our proud sundown town. The bridge connects Kennewick and Pasco, and anyone who wasn't white couldn't be in Kennewick after sunset, hence sundown town. There was a sign on this bridge that's been lost to memory what it says. Some people remember it warned black folks to leave before dark, with the N-word inked officially on the sign, but it's undeniable that discrimination built the Tri-Cities because it allowed the white parts to become prosperous, while the parts with people of color were exclusively underdeveloped and segregated from the rest of the cities. The Kennewick-Pasco Cable Bridge divided the Tri-Cities into what was known as lily-white Kennewick and Pasco, which was literally on the wrong side of the tracks. You might be thinking, so what? Lots of cities had sundown towns, Shreya. But most of them didn't continue so fervently into the late 60s. Most of them weren't called the Birmingham of Washington by the NAACP or the Mississippi of the North by Black Hanford Project employees. The story of this bridge is slowly being forgotten and painted over. No one recalls quite what the sign said, and now there aren't any histories or photographs or new articles to document it. All that's left is people's word. As much as I've been riffing at the Tri-Cities, it's still my city. My city's complicated. Its history is dark and tangled. My city undoubtedly has a crowd of those who'd be fine if the days of the sundown town had never ended. But my city also has vibrant and resilient groups of organizers. Whether people of color, LGBTQ plus folks, or allies, my city's troubled, but because of organizers, it's healing. The Kennewick-Pasco Cable Bridge has an oral history and scattered mentions across the web and articles, but it's our job, us young people, to remember it. We can turn our back and complain about wanting to go to college, or typical I want to leave this crummy town and never look back. Or we can make things better. I want to complain too. I want to complain about the stolen land. I want to complain about the racist t-shirts everywhere today. But instead, let's talk to the older folks in our community and record their memories. If we don't understand how our chaotic town got here, how can we ever move forward? Let's thank organizers. Let's band together. Let's form mutual aid. Let's be radical. Let's be game changers. Come on, Gen Z, do your thing.